The first person that I would like to introduce to you today is Erika from Portsmouth City Council. You are up first. It's really, really nice to have you here. Erika is a very good friend of the Workplace Travel Briefing. Last time you were on, we had an amazing conversation about swans and crossing the road, which I have very fond memories of. So it's really nice to get you on and talking about how, and I apologise for calling it the small island or the North Island. It's a unique place and it's very different from the rest of our project area. So it's really good to see what is being planned and what is going on in Portsmouth. So I am going to hand you the floor just now. If you would like to share your screen, tell us all about the amazing things that are happening in Portsmouth about buses.
Thank you very much, Andy. I do have swan news. I'll save that for the end, shall I?
Please do.
Swan update. Okay, thank you. Yes, good morning, everyone. And I'm going to start by making a confession. I have used this opportunity to cram in a little bit extra that isn't to do with buses, purely because it seems silly not to take this opportunity to share details of the Workplace Sustainable Travel Fund, very much linked to obviously the work that Andy and the team are doing with Workplace Travel Network. So I will crack on because I do unfortunately have to leave after I've presented, which I hate doing. But it was the only way I could manage to get this information out. And I have sent a copy of my slides over to Andy, and that is absolutely fine for him to share afterwards. However, if you do have specific questions you want to put directly to me, that's fine. You can email me. Whilst I am going straight into another meeting afterwards, I am around all day. So I would like to think I'd be able to pick up on things and come back to you pretty swiftly. Okay, so we're going to start with BSIP. Now, I imagine quite a few people on the call from other local authorities will be familiar with BSIP, but I'll just run you through what it means for Portsmouth, first of all. Going to touch on Park and Ride and really how this is a tool for commuting and reducing those single occupancy journeys that Andy mentioned at the beginning. I'll also cover off on where we are with Zebra. And as I said, I'm going to cram in the Workplace Sustainable Travel Fund as well, because that's now launched and is available for Portsmouth-based businesses. Now, I imagine there are lots of businesses from other locations, and your local authority will have something, if not the same, but similar. So I would suggest reach out to your local authority and check what they're offering. But I'll give you a whistle-stop tour of that at the end as well. Okay, now it doesn't want to move forward. Of course it doesn't. Okay, so in terms of BSIP, we had a public consultation which then fed into our request for or application for funding from the DfT for BSIP funding. After that funding, we actually did another survey. It was only earlier this year to check that the priorities and the key areas that we were previously consult on with the public were the same, and funnily enough they were. So essentially we are obviously looking at people who want more reliable, more frequent, more direct and cheaper bus services. It really isn't rocket science, but obviously with these things we need to make sure that we are working hard on things that are going to make a difference to the majority of people, and that's people who already use the bus, but of course encouraging more people to use buses. So objectives of the BSIP in Portsmouth, we do get a strategy is sent down, but we are then able to shape that based on the consultation responses from the public in the city. 4 key areas: improved travel times. And most of you, I imagine some of you will also be aware of the CERT scheme, which is looking to improve travel times as well. So that's interlinked. More passengers, obviously getting more people on the buses. Now, this is linked to COVID in that we want to get numbers back up to pre-pandemic levels, because obviously the work to dissuade people from travelling unless it was absolutely necessary impacted massively on buses and bus journeys. And now obviously we want to see a return to people using buses more often. We need to make it more reliable so people can be assured that they will arrive at their destination when they need to. and higher passenger satisfaction. We want to make sure that we are doing a good job, of course. So targets have been set for 2025. We need to get to 90% of 2019 levels. So obviously get those journey times quicker. Reliability, we previously had a target of 85% arriving on time. That's now up to 95% as part of BSIP. Passenger numbers, again, getting them back up. So from 12 million in 2019 to 14 million. And get our customer satisfaction up. We do an awful lot of bus surveying, and we have officers that will go out and talk to passengers during their journeys, really just to get a sense of what's working and what isn't. And there are lots of projects in progress and planned to make sure we achieve these targets, of course. I have got a summary of what we've been doing so far. You're all quite capable of reading, so I'm not going to read this verbatim. But a lot of work has been done to really see if we can increase those numbers, get more people using the buses and more frequently. Something that was key was this £2 single bus fare that was introduced and then was extended to the end of October. And we carried out a survey in our big Portsmouth survey, and 70% of residents were aware of that. So that's great. That demonstrates that we were getting the message out to people that there was a price cap. It has had to go up, but the cap is now at £2.50 until November 2024. I have got other news on fares, but I'll come on to that shortly. Fare-free weekends, followed on from fare-free Sundays, both of which saw an increase in journeys. So that's great news. And in terms of something that's coming up, and literally I only managed to get information on this confirmed yesterday, is there's going to be a taster market in Portsmouth City Centre on the 2nd of December, and that's part of Small Business Saturday, which is a nationwide initiative. But what we're going to be doing and what we've done is offered 10 free pitches to small local businesses so that they can have a stall that's adjacent to the Christmas market that starts that weekend on the 2nd of December. And to support that, First and Stagecoach will be offering free travel to the bus routes serving that event. Really, so not only do they get an opportunity for free to show their wares, as it were, but people going to that market will be able to travel for free. I've put a link on the bottom of this slide for more information about that particular event if you'd like to come along. Meant to be great. Okay. Doesn't want to do it again. Here we go. Okay, so I mentioned about other fares. We've launched on the 23rd of October the Young Persons Ticket range. And this is a range of tickets whereby young people, which has been extended from 18 to 19 as well at this point, means they can save across all tickets. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to buy in bulk, as it were. It will be a saving on a single fare to a 28-day mega rider. Again, there is a link to the website at the bottom of this slide, and you can find out about the different savings. They are different depending on whether it's First or Stagecoach, but all the information is in one place, so it is nice and easy. And obviously there will be there's comms going out about that to let people know about that opportunity, because it could very well be, now we're looking at age 19 if they're going to college, or if it is for leisure travel, they can use it for whatever they need it for. Okay, moving on to Zebra. I actually wasn't aware about Zebra until quite recently, but having spoken with the project manager involved in the comms for this area, Zero Emission Bus Regional Area Fund, or Zebra, is a collaboration between PCC, HCC and First Bus. The initial funding was going to cover the cost of 34 buses, but there was a secondary bid, and that's where the collaboration with HCC and First comes in. So now it's actually going to be 62, and the first buses are going to be arriving in January of next year. The fleet will run across the Solent, so it isn't just for Portsmouth. So obviously this is a great measure to help improve air quality, given the number of routes, the big diesel buses are doing, although a lot of them are now Euro 6 compliant and or running on biofuels. But as I say, the fleet covers the whole of the Solent, and they have now started works on the first bus depot where they're going to be accommodating these electric buses because they are quite a bit heavier. And that's something that I've only just learned, to be honest with you, but it makes sense because of the obviously the battery powers, etc. They are quite large batteries. So that's a little update on the Zebra initiative. And again, it doesn't want to work. Okay, Park and Ride. Now, Park and Ride has been installed now for a number of years. Obviously, other than during COVID, it's proved very successful and very popular. But what we are really looking to do is we want people to continue using it for their leisure journeys into the city. And obviously it saves on commuting, again, those single passenger journeys that Andy alluded to. So whilst it is great for leisure and retail trips into Gunwharf, etc., it's a great option for commuting. And this supports, car share, and then park the car up at Park and Ride and then go into the centre that way. So again, there is a link to the website where you can find out all the information, but I have done kind of a snapshot of the savings that you could potentially share with staff, members of your teams, because actually the cost is surprisingly low. So annual tickets working out at just £1.65 a day per vehicle. That's an example. And that's up to 5 people. It's not per person, it's per vehicle. So again, making it very low cost. But also the location. Obviously, these things are scoped out and planned to make sure they are the most efficient way to do it. So if you don't visit the city very often, you might have missed it, but I imagine the majority do, even if you're just passing by. Located just off the M275, the Park and Ride site runs a service into the city so that you can park up. You haven't got to worry about paying for parking in the city. You can leave your car there. I say all the running times are on the website as well. Runs every 15 minutes and it is open 7 days a week. There's only 2 days. I think it's Christmas Day and New Year's Day that it doesn't run. But it's, as I say, it's just a way of dump the car and off you go. And you can, you feel good about yourself that you're contributing to reducing the air pollution in the city and you're not clogging up the streets with your vehicle, especially if you're a single passenger. But as I say, that commute, again, basically piggybacking car share into the Park and Ride, and then off you go. And cost-wise, as I say, compared to actually paying for parking in the city, can work out very effective. So this is literally just a snapshot of the different options. And I mean, myself, I work mainly from home. I do go into the civic offices normally about once a week. But you don't have to be travelling into the city every day to make it cost effective. And I would point you to the flexi passes where you can buy a number of journeys rather than by day or by week. So actually, if you are going into the city frequently, but not frequently enough to warrant buying a week pass, for example, or a 4-week pass, then there are different options. So it's very flexible depending on what your working patterns are. And as you can see, given examples there of just 56p a day. I do apologise. One of my 4-legged friends decided to try and help me present. So I apologise if you get a fairy tale on the screen at some point. Okay, and moving on. Now, as I've said, I did want to squeeze a little extra in. So apologies, Andy, for hijacking our bus update. But I think it's important just to let people know that the Workplace Sustainable Travel Fund is now live. This is our 3rd round of funding. We've had fantastic uptake from local businesses. This grant is up to £4,000 to support businesses with the uptake of sustainable measures. So that literally just launched just at the end of October. So I was going to sneak it in last time. So it's not just because it got delayed, but it really is a way of getting funding to help your business provide. It can be pool bikes, bike shelters, lockers, cycling equipment. We've seen lots of different measures. And my colleague who's recently joined the team, Nathan, is going to be working on this and going and talking to people who've already had the funding to see how it's helped them, but will also be working and helping people to apply. So if you are based in Portsmouth, And this is something that you're interested in terms of having an offering that would help support sustainable travel for yourself, your staff, your visitors, your customers, even potentially, then please do reach out and we can establish if you're eligible. I know some people with glance do because they worry about the amount they've got to put in. Some of it's match funding. It's actually only a 20% contribution required on this round. So it'd be a relatively low level of commitment in order to get, I say, up to £4,000 in funding support. I hope you don't mind me squeezing that in, Andy. Thank you. I will leave you with a beautiful picture of our fair city. Thank you very much.
Excellent. I'm going to do these not in the order they came in. So a question from Mike has come in to say, it's really good to see the stuff around promoter buses. Do you have any data yet on whether, on what the effectiveness of those is and whether people are being transferred from cars into buses yet?
At this point, I've only got anecdotal data. I'd hope to have more for you. The project manager who's working on the Park and Ride and BSIP is on leave this week. And so I wasn't able to grab her. In one of my slides, the free Fair Sunday and the Fair Free weekends, which have already happened, we do have data, and that was on the slide. I think the first, off the top of my head, because I now can't see my slides, I'm quickly going to check to see if I can get to that slide. So I give you accurate information.
Cool. On
delivery date. So yes, so Fair Free Sunday. Now I appreciate this is offering a free fare, so that is more likely to encourage people. But I say we saw a 34% increase when we did Fair Free Sundays in March and May this year. And we saw a 45% increase in journeys over the Fair Free weekends that we did in September. And that was partnered with the Look Up Festival. I don't know if anyone was able to go and enjoy that, where you actually could see artwork across the city. Absolutely fantastic. Fatboy Slim was apparently seen enjoying the artworks across the city, according to a member of my team who spotted him out and about. So that's great. So that's the data I have at the moment. But what I can do is take that away and say when my colleague who's working on these projects is back, I can check that and come back to you, Mike. And good to see you, Mike.
That would be ace. If you can share that with us, then I can share that with
absolutely
all of our engaged workplaces.
I'll take that away. Okay.
Second question, is there a size limit for organisations to apply for the Workplace Sustainable Travel Fund?
Not as I understand it. It purely is, it's for Portsmouth-based businesses. So if your HQ is in Portsmouth, then you can apply. And the web page that was on that slide, you can check your eligibility there before you actually apply. And it's not something, there's no credit check or anything like that. So actually it's a case of simply entering your data. And I say my colleague Nathan or myself can guide you through that. But I say if you go to the Portsmouth City Council website and search for that, the link was on the presentation, which I think I sent to you. There's
placed it in the chat as well. So
yes, size doesn't matter.
Cool. And without veering too wildly, Trevor has asked whether university students would qualify for young person tickets, or is there a different scheme for students?
The young person's ticket is up to age 19.
Okay.
So my understanding is if they're up to age 19, that's absolutely fine. Over 20, again, I would need to check if there is another scheme. And again, I've made a note, Trevor. Thank you for your question.
No problem.
And I'm not aware of it, but as I say, I know that previously it did cut off 18 and it's been extended to 19.
Ace. There were some other questions that we've had. One of them is around, bus links from the Park and Ride to the eastern side of the island.
Yes.
Are there plans to put Park and Ride buses in the, and I paraphrase Sarah horribly because I know where she's talking about, that essentially go down the Eastern Road and potentially to places like St Mary's?
Okie dokie. Again, I can put that question forward because I don't have the answer, I'm afraid, but I will absolutely ask it I'll send that back to you, Andy, as well.
Because sometimes it does feel like the link goes down the western side, and the kind of the easterly side of the island doesn't quite get the same level of looking as the rest of the island.
No, so I have family on that side of the island, and I can see actually see your point. Yeah, totally.
And on a similar note, are there any plans for linking the park and ride to some of the mainland sites, such as places like Lakeside or QA Hospital?
Again, I don't know if there are any plans for that, but that's a
Yep.
great question and a great idea, I would say. So I'm going to make a note of that as well. It's okay. Yeah, fantastic ideas.
And I'm aware that on this the answer is no, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because recently I've had a couple of people ask me about park and ride sites on the eastern side of the island. So for people coming in from the kind of Havant, Chichester direction, are there any plans for them not to have to go across the top of the island and park up at Tipner, but things over on the eastern side?
Again, you know the answer. Not that I'm aware of, but I'm not always made aware of everything. But it's something I will flag. I think it's worthwhile mentioning it, that is a question, and I can completely understand where people are coming from in terms of that eastern side. Yeah.
Excellent. And a final one from me that I'm going to totally put you on the spot about. Do you know if the discounts you've talked about this morning are going to show up for people who are using the Breeze app to plan their journeys?
Now, funnily enough, I checked the Breeze app before the presentation, and I couldn't see it in there. I couldn't definitively say yes or no. So I think that's something we'll need to pick up with Linda as to, in terms of those pricing. And again, I think I'll need to do that when my colleague Chloe is back from leave next week, because I think, that needs to be the case. That's a no-brainer.
No problem. Brilliant. I'm going to go straight to the second one then. You promised me swans and you haven't delivered.
See, I was just checking. That's what it was. Literally just checking if you'd remember. Okay, yeah. So there was, I can't actually remember what the swan update was last time, but I know that since that last event, I was driving into Portsmouth at the Hillsey roundabout, and the traffic had slowed and I couldn't quite see what was going on. And there was a solo swan in the middle of the road. To the left of me, there were two big HGVs, which was that scares me anyway. I avoid driving at all costs, but on this occasion I had to, as collecting my disabled mother. And the wonderful thing was, a member of the team, I don't know if you know it, but there is a car wash by the Hillsey roundabout, close to the old news centre. And a member of the team literally dropped mid-wash, dropped everything, and came out into the road and essentially stopped traffic. And I kind of blocked two lanes, put my hazards on, and was literally just watching so everything was safe. Luckily, everyone was very aware, and the young man basically herded the swan back on into safety at the side of the road. So that restored my my faith in human nature a little bit longer that day.
That's fabulous. That's really good. If people are interested in getting hold of you or members of your team, what is the best place for them to try and get hold of you at to get further details on what you're doing?
I would suggest, I'm going to put my email address, because I could give you some group. Make sure we've got that right. We do have group inboxes that are monitored, but they're not monitored as regularly as an internal. I'm quite happy if people want to contact me. It may not be me that deals with your question, but I'm more than happy to share the love, as it were, and put you in the right direction.
Excellent. Brilliant. Thank you very much. You are off the hook. Good luck with your next meeting this morning.
Thank you. A pleasure.
And we will, no problem. We will see you soon. Thank you so much for coming out today.
No problem.
Cheers.
Take care. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.